Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome to the Mystic Visionary Podcast. This is your host, Zia, and we're here today holding space for the new paradigm. I'm going to pick the word for the week. I'm going to get in my little box, take out my crystal, feel around in there, and find the right word to talk about today. Let's see what I find. All right, I believe this is the word. Here it is. Love. What a great word. Love. All right, I'm going to go meditate on love and come back and talk about what it means in the new paradigm. Okay, I'm back to talk about love. What does love mean in the new paradigm? Well, love in the new paradigm has nothing to do with seeking. I think that that's something that is the old paradigm, that we're all seeking love and acceptance. I contemplated this a lot, and I've realized that in the old paradigm, for myself, it was like, what can I do to get people to accept me, love me, find me worthy? And I looked at that like I was seeking love. And I wanted to just have someone outside myself love me. And I think a lot of people do that. We're looking for approval, which really means we're looking for acceptance and love. We want somebody to love us. And this all goes back to, the original experiences of our childhood. We want the attention and love and affection and cuddling and closeness of our parents, and those are caretakers. It's like it's primal. We want that. And that's one kind of love. Then we transcend into like our teen years, and we're looking for love in a partner, and we're looking for somebody, to be in relationship with, to love us. And that's important. All those things are important. All of that is very important. But then when I think about love in the new paradigm, it is what I refer to as big love, this big love that our whole universe, the whole complex of existence is built on this foundation of love, this big love, this loving acceptance. I've read a lot of stories and heard a lot of people speak about near-death experiences, and whenever they've had that and they've gone to that place, whatever it's, gone to the light or, rose out of their body and, was in this different place, every one of them, or most of them, talk about this feeling of complete love and acceptance. There is just this undefinable feeling of love and acceptance, complete and total unconditional love. And that's the kind of love I'm talking about in the new paradigm. It's like, and it begins with recognizing that love energy like that is behind everything. That love isn't even the right word. Love just seems like Valentine's Day like, and roses and candy hearts. It's so much bigger than that. The new paradigm love is about that wholeness within each of us that takes us back to our nature. And our nature is that place of love, unconditional love. It's a beautiful feeling, and I have had it myself on many occasions. I have to tell you that I think I've talked about it before, but I had an experience from doing transcendental meditation. I'd had an emotional sort of breakdown because I was caretaking both of my parents and my brain-injured husband. And I was just giving, caretaking, not taking any time for myself, trying to manage two people that were in wheelchairs and one person who had a brain injury that couldn't walk straight. And I would take them places and take them out and wanted them to have a fulfilled life. And, my parents liked to gamble, so we'd take them to the casino. And my brain-injured husband was rolling my dad in a wheelchair, and I was rolling my mom in a wheelchair. And my stepdad was, telling my husband, okay, go to the left, go to the right, because he wasn't capable of really driving the wheelchair because of his disability. It was insane. And then the day-to-day stuff. And I one day was sitting on the couch and I had this, I thought I was having a heart attack. And what it really was stress-induced anxiety. So when I got to the hospital, they ran all the tests and it's like, no, you don't have a heart attack. Are you under a lot of stress? And I thought, yeah, I am. What am I doing they asked me, what are you doing to take care of yourself? I'm like, nothing. There's no time left for me to take care of myself. So they sent me to a behavioral health center and saw a therapist, and I went to see my doctor. And the day I went to see my doctor, he wasn't available, but his PA was. And so she came in and she talked to me about what happened and looked at all my reports. And she said, yesterday I went to a in-service training, and we learned about transcendental meditation. And what they talked about is exactly what you're experiencing. It's like, you need to go do this. Go, sign up for transcendental meditation and really start to do this. I thought, I haven't got time for that. But after this experience I just had, I was willing to do most anything to not continue to feel the way I was feeling. So I checked it out. There was a transcendental meditation place right close to my house. I signed up for it. My daughter flew in to help me when I went to the hospital because she knew that I was just, at my end of my rope. So she drove me, and I went in and I learned the method of transcendental meditation. Then I made a commitment to meditating twice a day for 20 minutes. And I took those 2 times a day for myself, and I didn't let anything get in the way, and I followed the program exactly. And I remember I was keeping track of the days because I wanted to be committed to it. So I would write down, day 1, day 2, whatever. And so I remember it was in my little journal I was keeping. It was day 86, and I was in meditation. And while I was laying there in meditation, I suddenly had what I recognize now as an out-of-body experience where I left my body and I was just floating. And when I was floating, I just was in this space of nothingness. And in this nothingness, all I was an outline of my body. It was like if you imagined, just drawing a shape around yourself. If you laid on a mat on the floor and somebody took a crayon and marked around your body, that was the image I saw, this body shape with a singular line around it. And it was like that was my skin, like my skin was 1/8 of an inch thick, and it just held the outline of my body. But my feet and my head were open, and I was floating in this cosmic state of just in the universe, floating out of it in the stars. And all of a sudden, when my feet and my head opened, that same energy that was out there in the field just filled me up on the inside. But as it entered my feet and my head, I began to feel this sense of love like I'd never felt in a long time. This sense of deep, unconditional, pure acceptance and love that just filled my body. And I felt it move through me. And as I saw myself as this little outline of my body, I was the same on the inside and the same on the outside. I was just floating in this beautiful cosmic space that was just like being bathed in love and acceptance. And it was so profound that I couldn't even explain the feeling to anyone when I was done. And as my body was filled with this love, it's sort of like the boundaries of my body, that little thin line that was created, just dissolved. And then I was just love. I was just love and acceptance. And I felt it in every cell of my body, or every aspect of my beingness. And when I came out of the meditation, I was I was different. I could feel the difference. I had this feeling of a connection like nothing I'd ever experienced. And I had experienced that oneness thing the first time when I was 18, and I'd experienced it a few times through my life, but nothing as intense and as deep as that meditation on day 86. And so then I really was sold on transcendental meditation. It's like, wow, I want to feel that again. And as I learned to meditate and let go, I realized that that state of being was created for me by the ability to let go. And when I really got into my breathing and let go of my thinking and just surrendered to the divine, surrendered to that quantum field, that empty space of no time, no thing, and no being, just existing, I could go to that place. I could experience that sense of deep connection and oneness and big love, this beyond the human experience of love. And it's almost like it's the that day on day 26 basically taught me that love is always there. It's like the air we breathe. That loving acceptance is part of the fiber or the network of our earth, of our being, of our nature, of everything. I think about like that. They show those cellular networks that cover the earth with the little dots, and there's this whole earth covered with all these little cellular networks. Well, I see those networks as love networks. They're all over the place. They're everywhere. They're every particle in the air that we breathe, every piece of nature, everything that there is, every vibration, every frequency is filled with that love. I also remember going to Washington, D.C., and one of the, I think it was Smithsonian, somewhere we went in and did an exhibit about dark space, or black holes in dark space. And the black hole theory was like, there's this big hole and we're just going to all fall into it. But when I had that, day 86 experience, I realized that we've been so trained to only focus on what we can see that we can't see anything else. And the love, this big love that is there, is like the black hole. We don't know what's in it. It just looks like it's black and there's nothing, but there's something. And that something is love. And love is a frequency. Love is a vibration. Love is a state of being. It's beyond the eyes, it's beyond the touch, it's beyond the taste, it's beyond all the senses, and it is a state of being. It's a vibration. It's the highest powerful vibration that there is, and finding and connecting with that, however you can connect with that. And sometimes, I found myself finding that connection in really simple ways, like in nature, particularly with animals and children. It's easy to go into that space of connection. I remember my dad, he died when I was really young. I was 20, but my daughter was born, she was 8 months old when he died. But I was so enamored by how much he loved her and how much he allowed himself to experience love through her. And, he was a Marine, and he was really tough, and he had post-traumatic stress, and he was like very strict with us as kids, and he didn't show affection. He was just a really kind of, difficult, angry, kind of, controlled person. But with her, from the moment she was born, he was loving and generous and kind, and he wanted to hold her and he wanted to play with her, and the love that emanated from him towards her just blew me away. And partly it kind of pissed me off too. I was like, how can he be so loving towards her, and I've never felt him love me like that. And I remember one time in therapy years ago, I was telling the therapist that story, and she said, how do you think he could love her as much as he loved her? I said, well, I don't know. She said, first of all, babies make it easy for you to love them. And second of all, he loved you so much that he could transfer that love for you into your child. And it really kind of woke me up to understanding how we are so blocked from that love. But there are times in our life that you cannot hold it back. And thankfully for my dad, those last 8 months of his life, he was able to experience and get in touch with that love again through my daughter and his granddaughter. And the day that he died, he was holding her picture when he passed away, when he transcended. So I realized that love is natural. It's so natural. It's part of who we are when we came here. It's just been so programmed out of us, or I don't even know if it's programmed, but we've just had so much of our human experience has wounded us so much that we limit the amount of love that we're willing to even accept. While in the meantime, we're all desperately seeking love. And that is the irony of all this, is that love is there for us all the time if we allow ourselves to experience it. And I think that finding whatever that is for you, whether it's being in nature or babies or animals, whatever that is that allows you to drop your guard and experience that love, I would go dive into that. And I would dive in deep, because the more you allow yourself to experience that, the more light you have in your body. It's like that is the light of source that fuels, or that embodies us. That is the flame of our animated human state. And the more that flame grows, the more of a fulfilling life that you can have. And that whole idea, I've known through my life a lot of people that have done drastic things in search of love of another person. And I just want to say that the greatest love that you'll ever have is the love you should have for yourself. And that love needs to come first before everything. And that nothing outside of you is going to fill you. No person, no thing, none of that will fill you. What really is required is for you to go inside and reconnect with that big love, my day 86 love. When you feel that unconditional, holy, deep, big love that has no boundaries, that's all about just acceptance, pure acceptance and absolute love. And that's available to all of us all the time. And the way to get past it is what I learned in the meditation. That's why people stress how important meditation is. It's like shutting down your mind and all the busy talk that's going on in your head, quieting that, letting your mind just, take a break, releasing all the things that you feel are so important just for a brief time. For me, it started with that 20 minutes twice a day. 20 minutes twice a day, I quit worrying about my parents. I quit worrying about my husband. I quit worrying about who needed to go to the doctor, what, pills needed to be put out, what I had to do or physical therapy, blah, 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 blah. All the things that were busy in my mind. For those two times 20 minutes twice a day, I allowed myself to have complete peace and quiet and detach from anything that was outside of me, and I focused inside of me. And then I started relaxing my muscles and letting go. I realized how tight my shoulder muscles were, and my neck and shoulders almost felt like they were connected. My ears and my neck, and my back was tired, and my legs and all the muscles were tight. I realized, this is kind of weird, but I had tightened up my butt muscles so tight that I didn't even allow myself to fart. It was like I couldn't even do that because my sphincter was so tight, because the muscles were so tight. And it's like I was relaxing. And I remember one day meditating, and all of a sudden I allowed myself to just let go of this big fart. And I was like, wow, that felt really good. How come I don't allow myself to do this? Everything is so tense. So I relaxed my body and allowed myself to fully and completely relax, and relaxed all these muscles I hadn't even thought about. And the more that I relaxed and just allowed my brain to stop thinking, letting go of all my responsibilities and my roles and obligations and expectations, and just allowed myself to fall into that space, then that big love would come in. And that day, on day 86, it was just like an ocean wave that came through. But then afterwards, when I connected with it, I could feel it, and I knew it then. It's like, this is that place. I'm fueling myself. It's like the universal gas tank. I'm filling up my tank with love, with unconditional love from source. And it felt so good. And now that's what I want to do, That's what I still do. And the more that I can do that, the more love I have for myself, the more love I have for other people, the more goodness shows up in my life, the more I can be myself, the more I can be authentic. Today I posted something on Facebook. I heard a quote from someone, and it said, "I'd rather be authentic than nice." And I had spent my entire life being nice because I was wanting people to love me, and I wanted acceptance. And if I was nice and I did all the things they wanted me to do, then I would get that love from them. Well, it took me a long time to realize that I could be nice till whenever, and no matter how nice I was, I still never got that feeling that I wanted. Yes, people liked me, and people were kind to me, and people were appreciative, but it was outside of myself. I needed it to come from inside. And having that oneness experience on day 86 taught me that I need to fuel my own love within me before I can even have any love to give anybody else or expect love from anybody else. Once you get that love within you and you open yourself up to that big love of that universal source of love that exists for all of us, then your need for love on the external completely transforms. And it's easier to find, and it's easier to give, because you know where you're going to go where you can get your fuel. And sometimes when I'm having a hard time, I can just remember that sensation of being that little physical outline floating in space, in the cosmos, having my head and my feet be open, and this energy just flowing through me and filling me with love. And I can close my eyes, I can breathe, I can remember that feeling, and my heart swells, and I know that it's there for me. And it's transformative. So I'm encouraging people to meditate. I'm encouraging people to look within for that and find that big love out there in the world. That's what it looks like in the new paradigm. All right, that's it for this week. I think that's enough. That's it for now, and I will be back next week with a new word. If you want to learn more about the 5 guiding principles of the new paradigm, you can listen to my audiobook, which is The Pocket Guide to the New Paradigm, which is a free audiobook on YouTube. I'll link it below. And the other thing that I have available is the Heart Archetype Quiz. It's a short quiz that answers the question, Am I listening to the call of my heart? And you take the quiz and you'll discover what might be blocking you from living the call of your heart. And I think that's what we're all being called to do right now, is to look inside, connect with our heart, and follow its guide. If you want to take that quiz, there's a link right below. If you have any questions or comments, feel free. You can also leave those below.